First of all, thank you for doing that and welcome
Of
to this
course.
podcast.
No, thank you for this. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was like I was searching, for Lewis fans, and I was like, yeah, the amazing option. The first option was like you.
Lewis, remember who you are, mate! 2007, you did it! You will do it again! So much love for you, man! So much love, man!
This is very chill. This is very chill. I'm really excited to talk to you because I mean, I had my share of conversations about that race because, of course, that was a part of history that we witnessed, I feel like, and that was so emotional. And I felt very emotional, even if I'm like, it's been not so long that I'm watching F1 like
Okay.
seriously in terms of like
Okay.
being very active into it. I
hmm
always like looked at it, from afar, but never went into it. And it's been 3 years, and now I'm like
hmm
full focus on that.
hmm
But I really got attached to Lewis and his mindset and his way of looking at the athlete's
hmm
part, of the sport, but also the human
Yeah. Yeah.
side of how
hmm
you approach, the determination and the dream and everything.
hmm
So obviously, this is a really interesting personality, and of course, a legend. So what happened was like crazy because it was also unexpected in a way. So before going in all the Lewis winning kind of thing about the race overall and the weekend, I felt like yeah, it was kind of unexpected because we saw like Ferrari a little bit struggling into
hmm
the free practice.
hmm
And of course, everyone was waiting for Mercedes to be like on the front. But
Yep.
then we saw Kimi a little bit on the back foot here.
Yeah.
And that was hopeful. I wonder how you felt in that, environment of like waiting for Lewis to perform or not during the qualifying, the free practice and the qualifying, when, he arrived doing like the second best time. Like, how did you
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
in that whole situation?
So I think, so of course, Lewis misses FP1,
Hmm.
which was significant.
Yeah.
FP2, FP3, he comes back. But again, I think with him and Charles, it was 5 and 6 again. Very similar kind of standing that we've seen for Ferrari over the year.
Yeah.
It usually is disappointing by that time for most Ferrari fans. We are like, yeah, it's going to be the same.
Yes.
Uh, I think I saw qualifying. I've actually missed the race, so which is a huge, huge thing. I actually had to sit and rewatch the entire race after
Oh my
because
God.
I
Okay.
was I was in Paris.
Oh yeah, of course.
Exactly. So qualifying, I think it was absolutely monstrous. I mean, it's so sad that he lost out. I mean, he lost the 10th, I think, on the
Y-
straight,
Yes.
and all of that had to do with battery, which was ridiculous.
Don't get me started
Because
on that. I'm going to get
exactly, I
mad.
mean, it's it's really sad because you can tell that Charles was trying to do the exact same thing Lewis was, but he couldn't
Mm,
do it.
yeah.
And I mean, I think even Rosberg said this in one of the wind downs that Charles was looking at the kind of data that Lewis was doing
Yeah.
and try to see if he could break as late as Lewis. I think it was turn seven, turn eight, but he couldn't,
Hmm.
and that's why Charles had the runoff as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just that if that engine had that little bit, Lewis would be on pole. But I
Yes.
think it's kudos to the team. I mean, they've come this far with an engine which isn't the best
Yeah.
to be this close to Mercedes. So I think the lap was up. And to be very honest, Lewis is not someone who, and I think this happened maybe in 2015 or 2016, when I think Lewis had this conscious choice of, I might not be the person who puts it in the front row on Saturday, but I know
Hmm.
for a fact on race pace I'll get them. And that's
Yes.
why he's always someone who set his car up on Saturday, thinking about Sunday, never Saturday.
Hmm.
And I think that's been the most important thing about Lewis.
Yeah.
So the fact that now you're seeing somebody who not only puts the car on the front row, puts the car on the front row against arguably one of the best qualifiers on the grid. I mean, Charles is absolutely incredible. Um, in a car which he is still getting to terms with at this
Hmm.
age, I think tells you everything about Lewis Hamilton.
No, it blows your mind. Like,
Yeah,
and yeah, the fact he was so locked in, so focused, and you could watch him during free practice one trying to study everything and being very locked in, also even
yeah,
outside of the car.
yeah,
And we're out here watching him, like, what does he thinking? But like, overall, when I watched qualifying, I was pretty excited for that because I felt like everything felt kind of in place. Everything
right.
felt right, and that also his new engineer, being here, you could feel something changed. Something was, placing in the right direction. And so the second place was like so important, of
Yeah,
course. And I was like, yeah, he's going to get it first, but the Mercedes at the start obviously are wild,
yeah.
except for Kimi at first, but like, so I was kind of very, very, I was happy, but I was also very concerned about the tire management because, of course, it was
Mm,
like very, the degradation was insane.
yeah, yeah,
And from the start of the season, we didn't saw something like this. So
yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm hopeful, but at the same time, like this is a 67 lap,
yeah,
race, and it's
yeah,
going to be so hot, and that could very easy turn bad, or like even if
yeah,
he managed to get in front, I'm like, will he be able to keep it? Because we know
yeah,
Ferrari, right? And the
yeah. Exactly,
strategy.
exactly,
So
exactly. Oh my God.
I felt very,
Yeah.
anxious about that. So pretty excited too. I saw the race live, of course. The start of that race felt like it wasn't going to happen, if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
honest, because George was doing, everything that
yeah.
he needed to
Right,
do.
exactly.
Lewis had the pace, but he was,
Yeah,
not, it was not struggling so much, but like he was talking about the tires, and I was like,
yeah.
what's
Mm,
going to happen? And that's only when, of course, George and Kimi started to fight that I was like,
hmm.
oh, that may be, going to be a
A
thing.
window. Yeah.
And regarding this, also, I wanted your opinion
Mm,
on that because obviously there's tensions between in Mercedes, right?
yeah,
And we felt tensions like the whole weekend and the weekend before because Monaco, obviously.
yeah,
Um, and it felt very strange coming in that fight because George was, complaining about him being exposed to Kimi,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it felt weird.
yeah,
And Kimi during free practice, he was like tense and
yeah,
kind of started complaining for some things that were, not
yeah.
really tangible. Like, and yeah, I was wondering what you felt around the situation with Mercedes on that weekend.
I mean, look, I'm a real neek. I mean, lately become a very like real neek about just these things. And I think it's very interesting with Mercedes. It's a constructor that you've always thought of as the most reliable,
Mm,
which is even if they've always had this thing, which is even if we're not the fastest, we're going to be the most reliable, and that's how we're going to win races. This year, that's not been the case, right? At all. I mean, you look at the McLaren boys, and the McLaren boys are really suffering thanks to the Mercedes engine. I think people tend to forget that Oscar didn't even start his home race. Then he didn't even do China. So it's, I think, so one is, of course, both George and Kimi know that there is a problem with the car. And it's great. I really like it because not as a Ferrari fan, I mean, not Ferrari fan, Lewis fan, and then Ferrari fan, but it's like you're now in an era where these things can happen,
mm-hmm.
where that there is that you need to be worried about it. And I think that didn't exist for very long in F1. And it's good to have that back where, reliability becomes such a concern.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think with George and Kimi specifically, right? I think they both are, and I generally feel for George because I think George is somebody who I've backed for years, even during his time at Williams. I think he's somebody you could always rely on, you
Mm-hmm.
know, to consistently go out there with the performances, and he's done that year after year, even when perhaps not didn't have the best car. Um, but you have not, if Kimi, which is a completely raw, brazen talent, which is I will put it on pole and I will get that fastest lap even if I don't have to. And I think that shook George a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding the whole thing about them fighting and them figuring out, I think what's very interesting is now, usually in F1, in Monaco and maybe even Barcelona is usually the time when you decide who you want to back for the championship. And there usually is a very clear divide. With George and Kimi, it's not as much,
Hmm.
and therefore you're now going to have a problem where it's not going to become a Rosberg Hamilton situation, I think, because I think at least Hamilton had still had some sort of experience going in.
Hmm.
And with Kimi and George, you can see they don't battle the way they need to. Like you look at the way Lewis and Charles battle, and it's some of the most clean battles you've seen in F1, I would say. I mean, it's an
Yeah.
art to see them. It's like they're choreographed in the way they move their corners.
Yes.
Um, so two things are going to happen. One, there's definitely going to be a point where they touch 100%. There is no doubt
Definitely.
about that.
Mm.
Kimi is going to get emotional as the season progresses. George is going to want to have his mojo back. Um, and
And
second
there's
is
Lewis coming.
exactly,
I'm
and
joking.
if things go well. And the other crucial thing is that because Merck has had, I think, two engine blowouts already, if I'm wrong, or two or three, and
Uh,
they've had problems with the battery,
yeah.
there is going to be a time in this season where they will have to take the engine penalty. And that can become significant for Ferrari
Hmm.
because if we're able to look for Charles, the failure was hydraulics. It wasn't an engine failure, it wasn't a
Yeah.
PU failure. But if they're able to still stay the way they are, even with the new engine coming in Austria, um, it's looking good. It's looking
Yeah.
very, very good for us.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
again, I have to remind myself I'm now a Ferrari fan,
Of
and
course.
this happens every year, so
Yeah,
I can't
but
say that.
if you, yeah, if you, regarding the mistakes that could happen with Mercedes, and like the fact that, I think you are very, clear, and rational, I mean, about those issues, because it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And Ferrari, for me, like the main issue is the consistency, of course, because yeah, we have that kind of happiness and of
Hmm.
excitement, but it's always about the longevity at Ferrari,
Yeah.
being struggling with longevity. So yeah, that's the
Exactly.
main issue. If they manage to get to be consistent and to work well together as engineers
Hmm.
and mechanics, that
Yeah.
should, if they manage to be focused on that
Hmm.
and do what they do best.
Hmm.
Of course, I think they did like a lot of updates also on that
Yeah.
weekend for Ferrari.
Yeah.
That was also a lot of testing of what worked. That's why, of course, like Charles had like a few issues in
Hmm.
Monaco, and on that weekend
Hmm.
also. So yeah, we'll see if the consistency is there. I'm excited for Austria for that.
But
Yeah, sorry.
sorry, one thing. I mean, again, this may be me being delusional wearing this badge, uh, but it's a new Ferrari. It's a
Yeah.
very different Ferrari to what we've seen. I have never seen in my time in racing, which has been 15, 20 years now. Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen Ferrari innovate the way they have,
Mm-hmm.
which is to change, you know?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's an Italian team. It's a team that is averse to change. It doesn't like change. It's very happy with the way things go. But you look at the way they've innovated, look at the way they've changed. They change every race, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they're almost looking like the way McLaren did over the last couple of years, where they kept innovating, and then reached this spot. And this maybe has to do with the fact that Ferrari brings in the boys from WEC, right? The
Yeah.
endurance champions, where they're absolutely brilliant. And it seems to be working, which is this whole thing with Lewis saying that, oh, they're listening to me, is, oh, they're actually changing the car the way I would like them to. There's some word to say that maybe they're not listening to Charles, or Charles is not doing as much when it comes to innovation. But it's like they're actively doing new things. I mean, whether it's the Macarena wing, whether it's
Mm.
the thing that they had on the Halo, which was that plastic bit. Um, and now they're even tire degradation. Like I said, I'm real neat about these things. They got a new rim for the tires,
Yeah.
which was made in Japan, which no other team was using,
Yeah.
which was helping them dissipate heat much better. Again, this is not something that you would see Ferrari do. But that's why I'm a bit hopeful that even with the new engine, they are going to innovate the right way. And maybe consistency is something that they've worked on as well. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the pit stops. Look at how good Ferrari have been. this year, even with strategy, even fingers crossed strategy. Because when I saw Lewis on three stints, I was like, what are they doing? Why has he pitted again?
I was
Um,
so I was so scared for that.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Because when he came out on the mediums, I was like, oh man, mediums that long, I don't know,
yeah,
But
yeah. Basically, because of the tire degradation, I was like so like anxious about that when he got
exactly.
out. Like, I think you're right. And the most of it, the most that they can take around that season, and from the situation, it's also their weakness from Mercedes, like you said.
Hmm.
So I think, like we said, you need to focus on yourself. You need to
Yeah,
just do what you can do best. Mercedes will fuck up at some point.
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
uh, which is not very a strategy fuck up, but like more just a
yeah,
communication fuck up. But like,
yeah,
I call this
yeah,
a stragy fuck up because you were
yeah.
supposed to be a little bit
Tell him.
more
Yeah,
focused than
yeah,
that. It really struck me as a pivotal event, like something that could
yeah,
change the course of everything that is happening
yeah,
after, because
yeah,
literally George coming in and not serving the penalty because they kind of forgot, or
yeah, exactly.
is wild to me. So this was for me the start of something
Yeah,
that is like announcing that it's not going so well as we think in
yeah,
Mercedes. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm feel you when you talk about of course the hope around Ferrari, because I think you can feel like they actually learn from their mistakes, like
yeah,
more. You can feel
yeah,
it. And like Charles said about, patience and everything, like the fact that he resigned. I think he had this big speech about patience, about Ferrari being that, his family. And when
yeah,
I saw it, I was like, yeah, I mean, because so many people were like so quick on saying, why is he staying? I'm like, Charles
yeah,
loving to be abused or loving to be, tortured. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, we're joking on that. But at the same time, I'm glad he's staying. I'm glad he's like, he has
mm,
that trust in that, because it's
mm,
also like this, that you built
mm,
a
mm, mm.
legacy, and that you built something. I know it's been 7 years. I know it's long.
Yeah,
I know there's multiple factors of that. And of course, it's about the car most of the time. But I love that kind of loyalty, and I love that kind of patience
mm,
regarding performance as well. So they have to, like you said, Lewis and Charles are like two
mm,
very talented drivers. They know what they're doing, specifically on wheel to wheel to wheel. Not everyone is like that, but that's fine. You learn.
mm,
But yeah, I think it's a fresh idea on how we search performance do, and how you
mm,
can still have some confidence in your own
mm,
surroundings, and you can grow together into something, you know,
mm.
powerful, even if it will take, long. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be like right now, even if it's so frustrating.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's my take on that, I think.
I mean, look,
And
I think,
no, you
sorry, just to
tell
add
me.
to that, I think, look, Max took 7 years to win his first championship at Red Bull, right? Um, with Charles, I think it's a point to worry about. Um, and I'll tell you why. Because I think, look, if Ferrari definitely want to look at what the next step is, what the next couple of years look like for them, and they would love to have Ollie in that car, because Ollie is doing well. I think he's been a bit subsumed this year, but he's beat Ocon left, right, and center as a rookie. Um, if you have Lewis in his best form, if you have Lewis doing so well, so comfortable with the car, and Charles still sort of struggling a bit,
Hmm.
what do you do? Right? What's the call you make? You can't ask Lewis to step away, at least at this point. You can't ask Lewis saying, because Lewis is perhaps their only real shot at bringing the championship back to Maranello in years. Um, do you ask Charles to move away? You can't, because you've just given Charles such a long contract. I mean, I'm sure the buyout would be immense.
Yeah.
So they found themselves in a bit of a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Um, I think the other thing I'm worried about is, look, right now there's a lot of respect between the two drivers. It's not going to be so as the season progresses.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Charles is at the end of the day he's competitive. He's very competitive, right?
Yeah.
If you have someone like Lewis who's at the age he is, the career that this career he's had, beating you in your own car in your own home, and you
Hmm.
see people in the team moving closer to his Lewis, and I'm sure that's happening already, right? You have engineers moving from the pits. You'll have Fred going all out on Lewis. It is going to affect you at some level, and I think you can already start seeing that,
I think you
right?
can already see it. Yeah.
And I'll give you an example, right? Like the whole crash that happened in Monaco, brakes or no brakes, etc. You can tell that he was very upset that they double stacked, and he was upset that Lewis got out first.
Yeah.
Whether he was too aggressive on that part of the track, which had the asphalt braking, or whether when he crashed in Barcelona, it was the qualifying, which I'm going to try and do exactly what Lewis is doing. It's getting to him a little bit.
Mm.
So I don't know how this is going to progress. I think Charles is definitely a bit further away from Lewis in the championship at the moment
Yeah.
because of what's happened in Monaco, I think in Barcelona. But it is going to hurt him definitely long term if Lewis's form continues the way it does.
Yes. Definitely. I agree to that. I can say you, like you said, we can already see that because I think that's also it's been a, a minute that I saw him that angry also. And I mean, of course,
Exactly.
it's his home race, but there was something else to it. It was
Yeah.
like very like huge frustration, and he was obviously talking about the communication right before, and Lewis is in the mix in the decision and everything. So I get it. Like really,
Yeah.
we agree. We're kind of aligned on that. So what I was interested in, you
Mm.
didn't see the race live, so you
Yeah.
learned about the win, then you watched
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you react
No,
when
no, I don't think learned about the win. I was following the race, like
Okay, so
in
you
terms
were
of looking. I was
following.
looking at the timings. I was looking at the timings, and I
Okay, okay,
wasn't on the.
good. So you
Um.
saw that
Yeah.
um that you like at the minute sorry. Yeah, I'm replaying it in my head and I'm like giggling. When he got out first, still on the lead, right after, the VSC.
Yeah. 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 Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Um.
What was
I
did
think
you kind of thought that it was possible at that point?
I'll tell you when I thought it was possible.
Yeah.
So throughout the race, like I could see that when he was holding behind George, he was always about 2 seconds off,
Yeah.
which is exceptional against the Merc. Because Kimi was falling back. Kimi was like 8, 9 seconds back, right? Um, the
No, he was.
moment I think it happened for me was when Lewis goes in, changes to, I think he got onto the hards,
Yeah.
uh,
It's that. Yeah.
comes back out and starts taking 2 seconds of George every lap.
That was
Uh,
crazy.
so first I thought that George has a problem. I thought there's no way that George is losing 2 seconds a lap.
Same. That was weird.
Um, you don't lose 2 seconds a lap. I mean, you also don't gain 2 seconds a lap unless there's something very different about your car.
Yeah.
Um, and even then, I could see like the radio where he was asking Sanjay, he's like, "Oh, am I still catching them?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, like you're 2 seconds every lap now." Uh, and then, of course, Alonso crashes, which is phenomenal. Um, I mean, what a way to give Lewis his first Ferrari win.
Yes.
Uh,
I
I mean,
didn't
the
even
rookie
think
that,
of the irony of that, but like,
yeah, I mean, the rookie who defeated you on and on and on
yeah.
at the age of 40 is going to go and win his first win at your own team in Spain against you. I mean, it's
Whole story.
poetic.
Yeah.
I've never liked Alonso, but I'm going to probably get a lot of hate for this,
Fair
but that's
enough.
fine. But yeah, and then pits under VSC, and I thought that he had missed the pit window,
He
and I
did,
was like, yeah,
actually.
and then he comes back around, right?
That's why I was so
Yeah,
worried about it. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
where is he? Where is he? And like someone said, oh, he just passed the pit. And I was like, no, fuck
Yeah,
no.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly, exactly. And then I remember looking, I think I probably found a TV somewhere, some bar in
Hmm.
Paris. And I
Hmm.
remember him coming out of the pits and George, Kimi right behind him. And Kimi is almost about to hit the pit exit. and Lewis has taken it, and then Lewis just flies after. It was incredible. I mean,
That was so exciting. The way he
yeah,
got
it's
out, like, and it
exactly.
was perfect, was good. The pit stop was perfect. They really
Yeah,
were ready for that, and like
yeah,
flying out of there. I was like, is he really in the lead? And I was like, yeah, he's in the
yeah,
lead, and that was crazy. Lots of
yeah,
excitement at that moment. I knew that he could do it, and I also, starting lap 44, it was doing the
yeah,
fastest lap, like
yeah,
on lap
yeah. That's the
44.
fastest lap, lap 44.
And that was
Insane.
it was distant. Like at that
Exactly.
point, if you do
Yeah.
fastest lap on lap 44, I'm like, okay, he's winning, you know?
I mean, look at the history of that track. Like, I mean,
Mm,
Schumacher's first win, um, lap 44,
that
fastest
is
lap.
crazy.
Alonso crashes. I mean,
I
it was
mean,
destined.
the universe, like I'm
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
someone who really believes in destiny, but I'm sorry, that was
Yeah,
this. That was destiny
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. I agree.
every star's aligned. Either
Yeah,
the star is called VSC or Lab
yeah,
44, whatever the name of that
yeah,
star. Then another one was Lewis Hamilton, like name,
yeah,
and he remembered,
yeah.
you
100%.
know.
I agree with that now.
That's
You probably did
actually,
remember.
I should send you that video because I posted a video of me like reacting to the six remaining laps.
Yeah,
I don't know what came over me. I was like, I'm going to film this because I don't know what's going to happen. And I literally, when he crossed the line, started like being excited and everything. And I started
yeah,
crying when I heard
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah,
radio. And I
yeah,
heard, and before even hearing the radio, I was like, you remembered who you fucking are. I said
yeah,
exactly because I was remembering your video, like what you
yeah,
said
yeah,
to
yeah.
him. And the fact that he mentioned that right after
It was,
was
yeah.
crazy. I don't know if you heard it. I mean,
No,
obviously
no,
you
I did,
didn't
I did, I did. Yeah.
live,
No, not live, not
not
live.
live.
Um, I got like 10 calls saying, "Where the hell are you? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What happened?" And they're like, he won." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I know he's won." And they're like, "No, no, do you know what he said?" And then they sent me the radio. I was like, "Oh my God, that's insane."
What? That's huge. I think you already said that. I mean, I saw, I think, words of you somewhat telling like that was crazy and like you had like, such a hard time um believing that because you were
Yeah,
part of, someone's history, someone's career. But before that, can you tell me about that anecdote? Because I think you talked about it too, and you said that something came over you that you really wanted him to know that, like when you met him, and like because your voice was so sure, was so encouraging and was, that kind of speech that you want to, clap to. And like you could start a riot with that voice. So just wondering before,
it was. I don't think a lot of people know about the story itself because I think it's the first time I'll probably say it is what happened that day. So this was the store opening for Tops that they were doing in London. And I think my sister had sent me like a TikTok saying, "Oh, he's gonna be there. Let's go." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I think the he was supposed to arrive at 1, and we were there at 9. And we were already late, right? So at 9 a.m. you're late because people have been camping from the night before.
I mean, of
Um,
course.
so we were about like 3 or 4 blocks down in the line, waiting to see if they'll let us come in front.
Hmm.
And this is how I know like this was destined to happen as well. So a couple of his guards like were taking rounds of the place trying to figure out, and they decided to split the line,
Hmm.
right? And they're like, "Oh, we want this line to go around the other side of Tops."
Hmm.
And we're standing there and we're like, "We don't know if we should do it. I don't know if I should do it." Um, One of his guards, and actually he's the one that comes in the video as well that I've taken when he's standing right next to Lewis,
Hmm.
um, turned out to be brown. Yeah. So he looked at me and he said something in Hindi to me where he's like, "Jao, jao," which means go, go. All right.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I trust this boy. I'll do it. I'll do it. And I
Okay.
run with my sister, my girlfriend, and I come right to the front. Um, and I'm standing there, and of course, there's a lot of pushing and everything. But like we've now covered the top store like throughout completely, and people were coming in from the streets as well. So there was no, it was completely chaos.
Hmm.
And then they bring Lewis goes inside, so he's inside the store. Then he comes outside. The first thing when you see Lewis is that he glows. Okay.
Of course
Because
he
when I
does.
say no, 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 it's like it's incredible. Like
I
you know,
told
I
you,
say this,
it's a star. It's
yeah, so because I'm a so when I saw Messi for the first time, I had the same feeling.
hmm
But with Lewis is he glows.
Yeah.
Okay, like there's something about his skin. He's glistening, like his tattoos shine in the sunlight. Yeah, I don't
Yes.
know what they do, but it happened.
Yeah.
And he's speaking to the person that runs the top store, and it's silent. Like
Mm.
no one's saying anything, and
Okay.
everybody's like, "Oh, Lewis, Lewis, Lewis," and I was like, "What the hell? Why is no one saying anything?" And so the first thing I scream at him when he's looking the other side is he's speaking about how hard this year has been for him and how like he just needs support. And he sounds a bit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like the kind of Lewis that I've grown up listening to.
Yeah,
And
he's
I just go, "Oh,
struggling.
Lewis." Yeah, like I can hear like
In pain a little bit.
it's different. It's
Mm.
different. Uh and I was like, "Oh, Lewis, still we rise, still we rise." And he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, still we rise." And then he continues to keep going, and then he starts deciding to like shake hands, no, not shake hands, but like go and see everybody and wave to everybody, right? Um, and then he comes right in front of where we're standing, and I don't know what happens. It's like I need to say something to him. I don't know what. He needs to hear me.
I do get it, yeah.
And again, like I'm saying, destiny. Everybody is silent, bro.
Mm.
No one's saying a word. Like even if you look at the video, it's silent. Why is no one saying anything? This is perhaps one of the greatest athletes that we've seen in our time, right?
Yeah,
No one's
just
saying a
tell him
word.
something.
Yeah,
Like,
no, no, like no one's like everybody's like, "Oh, Lewis, Lewis, Lewis," like he knows he's Lewis. Like, what are you saying? And then in that moment, I just looked at him. I'm like, I think I had. I'll tell you the image I had in my mind when it happened, where I was like, I started remembering his rookie season,
hmm
and I was like, this is a man or a boy back then who comes into F1, defeats a two-time world champion,
mm.
wins his first race, on his fourth or fifth race, sixth race, is about to win the championship in his first year. There hasn't been a rookie like this. There hasn't been a driver like this.
Mm.
Um, and so I was like, "Lewis, remember who you are, mate. You did it in 2007. That part gets cut out for some reason, and you will do it again." And he looks at me, and I can clearly see he's looking at me,
Yeah.
and he decides, you know what? Like, I've heard you, and I can see this moment of like, it's hit him.
Yeah.
It's definitely hit him.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only person in the crowd and I'm like maybe a row or two rows back. He
Yeah.
jumps into the crowd and grabs
He
my hand, right?
reaches to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I wear this like this faded bracelet all the time because I was like, "Oh, this is my hand." I was wearing the same bracelet. But yeah, because lots of people have been like, "No, it wasn't you, it was me." And I'm like,
That's
"Come on."
literally your voice. Like the minute
No,
I heard your
exactly,
voice, I was like,
exactly.
oh yeah.
So and then he looks at me and he just goes like, "Oh, like does that." And he like, I just go, "So much love for you, man. I appreciate you so much."
hmm
And yeah, and there was a moment where I don't know, it just made me realize that he knows, you know.
hmm
I don't remember what the next race was. I want to say maybe it was Monza. I don't know. Where he comes under the yeah, I think it was Monza where they were wearing the blue kit. And he goes, "Oh, someone said to me, don't forget who you are." And
hmm
I was like, "Wait, he already knows this." And it was me who said it.
Mm.
But again, it's not like I'm the only person who's ever said this to him. I was just at the right place at the right time to say it.
No, but you did it in a way that was very meaningful because, I don't think it would have been the same if you would have said it to him face to face in a room.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think so. Like
Maybe.
it's the way it happened, it's the way you said it, it's the way, it's everything. Like you said about Destiny or like stars being aligned. I think the context is also to take here. It's this bunch wave of fans wanting to sign stuff or like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like just saying Lewis, taking pictures,
Yeah.
and there's that one thing that comes
Yeah.
out of the whole moment, which is just an encouraging word, and you know being there, and that's what exactly feel emotional towards
Yeah.
like those kind of events. It's those
The
interactions,
moment itself.
between
Yeah.
the admiration and the admirer
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the athlete, which
Yeah.
really needs this. And the
Yeah.
fact that some people think, they don't care. They're like, they don't care,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
doing their
Yeah.
thing, they're millionaires, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe some
Yeah.
of them are.
Yeah.
Not him. Like I don't know
Yeah.
him, but I
Yeah.
just know like it means a lot to him, and like you can really feel that the fan base
Yeah.
is a really big thing in his way of
Yeah.
processing his career and the
Yeah.
way, races and everything. Like the support is so
Hmm.
great and so important and everything, and the way yeah, that happened in the best way possible for everyone to witness
Mm.
that it is something important to him, and there's an
Hmm.
exchange that will never be forgotten, and that's the way it had to be done with those people around, with that frenzy around it. So, and after the race, I think I posted something like, I hope that the guy who told Lewis to, remember we is have a real good night of sleep tonight and every night's ahead. I think I'll find it
Thank
to
you.
you and send it to you, because that was an enormous,
Yeah.
there was so many fans being grateful for
No.
what you
Yeah.
did and
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
grateful for Lewis, but for what you did. And you saw
Yeah.
it every day on socials and even after the race because he
Yeah.
said that,
Yeah.
and that was a direct link to what you said, and everyone thought
Yeah.
of you, everyone. And so you spoke kind of on behalf of a whole community. So I don't know,
Yeah.
if you felt
Yeah.
that, link also of other fans.
You know, that's what I was gonna say, which is I think it wasn't me. It was I was just in the right place at the right time. And
I
I
get
could
that.
see that a lot of people wanted to say the exact same thing to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And the kind of like words of support I've got over the last couple of weeks have been insane. I mean, people have said, "Oh, if you ever need an organ, I'm here for you. If you ever need me, like, send me your PayPal. Let me send you money." And I'm like, "No, please, like, it's not worth it. Donate it, please." People have been like, "If you're ever homeless, my home is for you." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." Um, so it's been incredible, and that's the thing. Like, I don't think it's one fan or one moment or one interaction. It's just being at the right place at the right time. Maybe it was standing in that moment, the universe went, "Oh, you being a part of this fan base needs to say this," and it happened. Um,
Yeah,
it's actually
maybe.
incredible. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could be, and I think it's incredible because when I was 11, I saw Lewis in a very similar interaction. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he was in Mumbai. He had come for like a promotional event. This was back when he was at McLaren, and he was about to leave McLaren, and I was really sad about that. I
Yeah.
remember because back then Mercedes was written off. Nobody really wanted to go to Mercedes, and I was like, he's the McLaren boy. He's my boy. He's one of us. And I remember standing in the crowd and I was holding his autobiography. This was the first book that he had written. And I was holding it. And I was like really tiny. I was like 11 years old. I was like screaming, "Lewis, Lewis, Lewis." Again, he looks at me because he recognizes the autobiography and he throws me a shirt, which I still have. So for me, it's like there have been two moments in my life, maybe 15 years apart, where I've had this moment with Lewis,
Yeah.
where we've had a moment of like, I can see you, you
Yeah.
know?
Acknowledging
Um,
that you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, if I ever see him again, this is what I would tell him, which is that, like, how powerful of an athlete do you have to be to inspire someone who's 11 as well as 26, right?
Mm.
Um, and that, you mean, we started this whole thing, right? We started this whole thing about how unexpected it's been and how different it's been and how
Mm.
no one expected him to ever do this. But I think we forget that's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
He's not someone who you can predict. Um, every year that he's raced, he's come out on top in a way which is very different from the last. Like I said on one of the videos that I did, I managed to be at the Silverstone race 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and that was incredible because he had won for the first time since 21, I think, and it was I want to say about 400 or 500 days since he had last won a race,
Yeah, you
600 days since
said
he last won a
it
race.
meant a lot or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one.
and I went and picked this up to like commemorate when I got it. And then what else? I mean, I'll put this on the video is that I went down to Stoke Corner and I picked up like the gravel that he had gone over in qualifying. I think qualifying, yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, like this is it. Like this is all there is, right? In my head, I was like, maybe not an eight championship, but I'm lucky enough to see him win at home
Yeah.
um, for maybe the last time.
Yeah.
Because what after? And then he does it
Yeah.
again. He does it again. So it's it's a privilege to be a
Mm,
part of this fan base.
so cool.
Like I said, yeah, like I said, the support I've received, the
Mm,
just the amount of people I've had love sent from is incredible
yeah.
across the world on the streets. Like people have come up to me and been like, "Oh, are you the guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, maybe."
I mean,
So it's been amazing.
so
It's
much
absolutely
love.
amazing.
I think, yeah,
Exactly.
I felt the love after that win. And, so many also people from the sport, journalists, mechanics, engineers talked about everyone was happy for Lewis. Like
Yeah,
everyone was
yeah,
impressed and also very happy that it happened.
exactly.
Like the first thing that George, Lando are being asked, it's, are you,
What do you think?
what do
Yeah,
you think about Lewis winning in red, and
yeah,
that's what Lewis is to the sport, so, it's that kind of
yeah,
guy is so,
yeah.
so nice and, friendly that everyone is like looking up to the way he's growing again and in that new adventure. Of course, it's also because he
Yep.
changed teams and because he built a legacy somewhere else and then he started a new challenge, but that's also what is so inspiring to look up to that, the
Hmm.
challenge to keep challenging yourself and keep walking towards a dream because yeah, the dream is to win world championship, but the dream is doing it in a certain,
Right.
there's
Yeah,
another dream behind it and it's doing it in red and it's, I think it's a guy that always dreams and I really love
yeah,
that because sometimes
yeah,
some people say that like when you're growing up you kind of stop doing that or yeah
yeah,
you just being like more rational and I think he's a rational kind of guy but he's also someone that he believes in dreams a lot and
yeah,
he's like that kind of
yeah,
kid soul so that's why I really
yeah.
like that personality and I was wondering I mean, you said it, I think countless times also, but like at the beginning, is there memory or character traits that made you a fan, because of that you have this loyalty now? What did you
Mm.
see in him at first?
So, thing is, I was very lucky as a child to actually see the McLaren car. It used to be like there was. My dad used to work for one of the companies that used to sponsor them, so they had like the replica outside.
Yeah.
Um, and then they were doing this thing a couple of years ago where they were touring the entire world with that car.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in front of it. If you see the picture, that's my one of my even on my page on TikTok. That's it. And I think I was 7 there. Um, and I think I had no understanding of F1 back then. I was just looking at it. I was being like, oh, I associate this car with my driver. And I think I watched the first F1 race I saw was 2011 when it happened in India, which
Mm.
was Vettel, and Vettel was brilliant then. Uh, and I think what it was about Lewis when I started growing up and reading more and realizing the character that he is. One is when he was young, he's relentless, right? He is absolutely relentless.
Mm.
Second is, I think, just seeing somebody different. At the end of the day, a driver who isn't uh, white, who isn't coming from a lot of privilege, who isn't
Yes.
someone who comes from generational wealth. And this is something that he speaks about very openly in his book as well.
Yeah.
How his dad had to, run 3 jobs to be able to put him into that car.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and there was this sense of one is recognizing that as a child. So seeing somebody who looks almost similar to you,
Mm.
making space for you. Of course, at the time you also had Narayan Karthikeyan and you had Karan Chandok, but they were not making as much headway as, of course, Lewis was. Unfortunately, they didn't have the team or the resources to back them. But uh, you then see things at play where people aren't very happy with Lewis winning.
Mm.
Uh, whether that's his first season, whether that's 2021,
Mm.
um, you can tell that there is the greatest driver in the sport is different.
Mm.
Um, and that's what kind of takes you even closer to the person that he is, which is he's relentless, he dreams, he's competitive, he's aggressive, but also he's fighting every day.
Yeah.
And not just people on track, but people off track. Uh,
Yeah. There's some
and I think,
adversity.
yeah, exactly. And I think this whole thing which you spoke about being different, when he was growing up as the only black person to be driving cars, as the only black person doing remote control cars.
Yeah.
and facing bullying through that, him and his dad, right? Um, it's it's something that he still faces. 2021, whatever happened, happened. I still believe at some level there are powers at play that don't want him to win. He cannot dethrone Michael Schumacher as the greatest driver there was. Um, it's not something that's supposed to happen in the sport. And during the Bernie years, right, you could see this a lot more because Bernie wasn't fond of Lewis. And I think I was watching the sport at a time where I was probably one of the very few young people who watched the sport.
Mm.
It was usually very old male sport, old rich person sport. I think now it's
It's
become a lot
true.
better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's what drew me towards him, which is just his relentless drive, no
Yeah.
matter what, even if people around you are praying for your downfall. Uh, and yeah, I think it's always just been a part of me. Seeing him drive,
Mm.
taking inspiration from him.
Mm.
I think 2021 was the lowest period for all of us fans, and of course Lewis as well. And I still remember I was back at university in
Yeah.
India, and I saw him sitting in the car, not come out. But then he comes out, and when they interview him, he goes, "Oh, Max has been phenomenal, Max," and not a word about what's happened. And
Yeah.
and you think, and you're like, like most people would go, "Oh, Lewis is fake. Lewis is all PR. Lewis is all branding." I think that's the moment that shows you who Lewis Hamilton is. He comes out of the car, and there's so much respect for Max and the championship that he's driven. Yeah, he goes and hugs his dad after, and he has this moment where he's completely broken down. You can tell. But and then they ask him, why didn't you get out of the car, or like, why didn't you say anything in the interview? And he's like, look, like I knew for a fact there are millions of kids who are watching me, and if I didn't come out of that car, or I said something which was ridiculous or mean or rude in that interview, or was whining about not winning, what's the example I'm setting for people? And for me, that's such a profound thought to have in a moment where everything you've driven for is crumbled in front of you. You know, I'm sure Lewis would have a moment in his career where he would have been like, you know what, I want to get that eighth, I want that championship, and that's going to be me, and I'm going to work towards it. And after that, all of it to crumble down in a couple of laps, which that race was Lewis's to win. I think Max had a phenomenal run. It's not to say Max didn't deserve that championship.
No.
100% he
Yeah.
did. But Lewis in the second half of the season was a beast. The
Yes.
Middle Eastern races, Brazil. I mean, there was no one like Lewis.
Mm.
Um, I wish he would have won that night, but a part of me doesn't anymore because I feel like we wouldn't see this renewed new human being,
Mm.
at the age of 41 being able to do what he does.
Yeah.
But I think it's just his mindset.
Yeah.
He's one of those, and again, also one of the only people in this sport who uses this platform for good. Speaks about politics.
Definitely.
Yeah,
What I was about to say was like, for me, I think what made me fall much more into Lewis was his empathy
yeah,
and yeah, his ability to really connect his like image and figure as, a legend and a historical icon with doing good and yeah, using the platform like you said and spreading like the amount of those messages, even if like it's a small thing, people say like, oh, but what can we do, like we would in this position not there and we can't really, yeah, but it doesn't take much effort, to say something and like
yeah,
he I know that F1 has lots of rules that I'm not aligned with, and specifically about the political issues or like the social issues. I think it's dumb, but Lewis is kind of the rare um, public figures that I will always respect in that
yeah.
era because you will always speak up for either it's minorities or like something that he doesn't find right. Um, Even at the
I mean, look at
factory.
the fact that the F1 Academy, which is happening at the same weekend for all of F1, one of the only drivers that promotes women in the sport is Lewis. It's not hard for a driver to walk down the paddock and look at one of the F1 Academy races and be photographed with it. Why is it that it's always just Lewis? And I think that just shows you the person that he is. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to do it,
No, yeah.
not at all.
Yeah,
And
that
I think that's
says
what's
a lot.
exceptional. Yeah, it doesn't. And it's sad that he's the only black driver in 75 years, no, 76 years of the sport. No women driver in the last 76. Come on. Jamie Chadwick is exceptionally talented.
Mm.
Susie Wolf was exceptionally talented,
Mm.
but you don't make space for them. And I think that's another thing, which is Lewis demands space. Lewis will take space, and Lewis will create space.
Exactly, yeah. And that's why
Um,
it's so, um, we're so attracted to that kind of personality too, that everyone like, has some respect and everyone is happy for him. Like when I told you that,
yeah,
it's because like you said, he creates the space. He doesn't wait for it to be created. He actually demands it, like
yeah,
you said, and creates it
yeah,
through you.
yeah,
And that's, yeah, the kind of personality, like so magnetic, and so,
yeah,
you know, special in that sense.
yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, just a great person.
Yeah,
Yeah. To
100%.
to finish on that, you said something also about, something that you learned from all that experience and what happened was the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was curious about what you meant.
Well, actually, that came from someone who commented on one of the reels, being like, "Oh my God, the butterfly effect is real."
Yeah.
Um, and it's true. I think, I only realized what that moment had meant for Lewis was when I saw the post-race interviews.
Yeah.
Because of course, like I think the "remember who you are" in the caption, or like even on the radio going, "Oh, thank you, my fans, for reminding me of who I am," is amazing. But I don't think it ever hit me till I watched the post-race interview, and he speaks about how he had to rebuild his mindset,
Mm.
and he realized that he had to completely change who he was to be able to win this race,
Yeah.
to be able to make this season. After injury in Barcelona, work the entirety of the winter break, and then come back as what he is today. He had to rebuild himself and really create someone else, and create this mindset of getting himself out of those dumps which he was in last year. Um, and I think it was what I meant by the butterfly effect was just it was a random sunny day in London. He just happened to be there, and I just said, "Remember who you are." Thinking of just having grown up with Lewis,
Mm.
watching him so closely. Later, I was told, "Oh, it was also in Lion King," and I was like, "Yeah, shit, it was from Lion King." When Mufasa tells Simba, but uh, I didn't realize it would have such a profound effect on him.
Yeah.
Um,
I just said to
I was
someone
saying it, yeah,
this morning that, the love is in the small things. And
yeah,
I think it also portrays that. Like there were, lots of love in that sentence. And, the
yeah,
butterfly effect for me also comes from that kind of love, or that trust, or that, determination. And it was all of that in one simple
yeah,
sentence being
yeah.
yelled in the streets, that's it.
Like, let me show you this photograph that I have, which I think
Yeah.
like it symbolizes for me. Like, it's my favorite photograph in the world, of course, but I think it's the moment I realized that he heard me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's this here,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Mm.
And I think
That
like
smile and that hands. Yeah.
at that minute, something changed about Lewis.
Mm.
Um, it was, yeah,
It was powerful.
I think something clicked for him,
Yeah.
something up there was like, "Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. What am I doing? I'm Lewis bloody Hamilton, right? Uh, I'm the
Exactly.
greatest driver that ever touched the sport."
Yes.
And yeah, he's showing it now. He doesn't need to, but he is. And people forget who he is. That's the sad bit, that people forget who they're
Exactly.
speaking about.
Because he had such a hard time, like you said, such a hard year. And seeing, I think he actually said it also in post-race interviews, or maybe it was somewhere else, but all people saying that it was dumb decision, that it was,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
when he said, I
yeah,
really truly believed my decision. Yeah. I was
yeah,
like, because people gave him so much shit for
yeah,
for that change,
yeah,
that because he had such a hard year and everyone was like, yeah, he's not what he used to, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much hate online. I think Lando said it in a post-race interview. He dealt with so much like hate and
Yeah.
fuckers, like, I don't know what he said, but
Yeah.
dumb
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
online that it is
Yeah.
the right way to,
Yeah.
to get back at them. So that's also, what was so powerful about it. He got to really prove that because you never stop proving yourself at the end
Yeah.
of the day. That's an
True.
example of that. Like, I mean, I feel like we trust him in that sense, but like there's always so many people like doubting, your capacity to do something,
Yeah.
and like you always keep proving yourself, and specifically as an athlete, okay, you're world champion, then do it twice, then do it three times, then do
Exactly.
it
And
four.
I mean, this is he since he came into the sport, he's never taken a year off. Yeah, he's always been. This has been his life for the last 20 years. Um, he's the only driver to do it at the age of 20, 30, and 40. Like there is, I think people forget that he's not just another driver on the grid. He's just not somebody who has raw pace. He is Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah,
Um,
sir.
and I'm sure, like of course, other than the fans online, drivers critiquing him, I'm sure even like his conversations with Seb would have said, you know what, like it's not the best, right? It's been years since Ferrari ever did something where there was hope, you know. But for him to actually work against that and go, yeah, but I'm still Lewis Hamilton, I think just tells you that
Everything you need to
it's
know.
precisely and just the class of athlete that is,
Mm,
which is he's still doing it and he's going to continue doing it.
mm.
41 points is nothing. And yeah, like I think I loved what Toto said because Toto knows Lewis from within is that when Lewis smells blood, it's game over.
It's
I
it's
mean,
hammer time, baby.
yeah, Max came up from 105 point deficit last year,
Mm,
and he lost the championship by 2 points.
yeah.
And this is Lewis Hamilton you're speaking about, chasing a 19-year-old who's very fast, who's rapid pace, raw pace,
No, yeah, no shade to the talent here.
but the experience that Lewis has, and Lewis has done this year in, year in of his life. This is the
Yeah.
I think there's that stat, right, which is that Lewis had four races which were done differently.
Mm,
Yeah, four races in his entire career, he'd have 11 championships,
mm.
and that shows you how many times he's done this. This is not new for him. And so there's hope, there's faith, and there's just remembering who Lewis is.
What a great way to finish that conversation. That's perfect. That was really cool. Really, thank you for doing that because I had such a great time with you. I think we reflected on
And
so
thank you for
many.
having me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is things that obviously interest me, that obviously like make me very passionate about like being a fan in general, the passion that you can share with the community and with, those people that we admire. And yeah, I think this story and overall um the fact that it inspired not only, Lewis, but the fans around also. So yeah, I think it was important to take a little bit more time and talk about that. So thank you for doing that with me.
No,
That
thank you
was
so much
nice.
for giving me this platform. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Like I said, I was just in the right place at the right time, and I am just super grateful and privileged to be a part of not only this fan base, but also be able to support an athlete like this. So I just said
Definitely.
what everybody else would have. I
You
just happened to
spoke
be
on
me.
behalf of many of us. Yeah, and we thank you for that.
Well, thank you so much.